Hey, October 14th, I'm here trying out a different concept. I actually fell behind this weekend and I didn't post anything on Saturday or Sunday. And I wish I could say I have a good reason, but there isn't a good reason to fall back on a goal. I've been hard working on my course and trying to get the finishing touches on it. And it is like taking forever, but I definitely had enough time to film a video and post it. So I'm not gonna use that as an excuse. I'm gonna take that L and I'm gonna jump back in. But what I did do this weekend was think about like ideas for posting. And one of the things I would really like to do, because it's good for me, and I think it could be good for other people, is do something what I'm gonna call a chapter a day. So whatever book I'm reading, which most of them will be either business related or self-help, personal growth type books, because that's really what I love. I'm gonna read a chapter and I wanna do a real, my best attempt at kind of summarizing a chapter and giving the best value. Like, okay, what do you get from the chapter? I'm not gonna say I'm gonna do every chapter in a book, but I want to go through in whatever chapters I feel are like super good. I want to chew on that information. I want to digest it and deliver it. I found that when we take something and we try to understand it and we try to teach it, like so much value comes out of like, this is what I got. Like I'm not teach it, but explain it. Okay. Because I'm learning and I'm going through this process myself. So I'm like, hey, this is fantastic stuff. I want to understand it absolute best I can. So I'm taking it, applying it in my life, and also kind of like sharing, hey, this is what I'm getting. So today I'm going with .com Secrets, which is the owner's manual. This is like the book if you're doing any type of internet marketing and you're trying to drive sales, drive funnel, drive traffic to your funnel, to get people to buy something online or offline. I'll be honest, even though it's called .com sales, it is like, I dare say it, like a sales Bible, a marketing Bible. It's phenomenal, like phenomenal. This guy, Russell Brunson, is absolute genius. He's an absolute genius. And if you haven't heard his stuff, he's so good. Practice is what he preaches. He's just a marketing maniac. So I actually did a like little summary of his first chapter, the first chapter in his book, which was The Secret Formula. Who's your customer, right? Where are they? What kind of bait can you use to attract them? And then what is the result you can get for them? So that was the secret formula. So I didn't want to do that one again yet, but I'm probably going to revisit it. Today is chapter 2 that I'm going to talk about, which is hook story offer. Hook story offer. And I'm going to explain what that is. So what Russell did here, he was making a presentation and he was on stage and he held up his phone and he said, who will give me $100,000 for this phone? And no one responded. And so he said, I'll tell you what, by the end of my presentation, you guys will be lining up to pay me $100,000 for this phone. And then he went on to build value for the phone. He explained, he's like, yes, you can buy the phone itself as a, $700, $600, $700, $1,000, whatever phone costs. He's like, but the value is not the phone itself, it's what's in the phone. So he talks about, he's like, hey, every Apple book I ever bought, every course I ever went through, downloaded is on the phone. It is over $100,000 worth of merchandise that I've purchased that I put on the phone. He said, I also have a contact list with some of the most powerful people in the industry. And Russell Brunson knows a lot of people, Grant Cardone, Tony Robbins, Dean Biasucci. I mean, Tom Bilyeu, mega players with massive networks. He's like, so if you get the phone, you now have direct contact to these people, and you can tell them that you know me, which gives you an in. That right there is huge. He also has a Google Drive with all of his SOPs, standard operating procedures, for every position in his company. People that have a company and trying to figure out how to systemize everything, that is massively important. So after this, and he built up any more value that he had in the phone, he said, okay, who's gonna give me $1,000 for this phone? And every hand went up. They all started seeing the value. And so he just started a bidding war, basically an auction, 5,000, 10,000, 25,000, 50,000. And he get up to 100,000, and still there were so many hands raised that he kept going until he got to the point of saying $750,000, and there were still 3 hands raised that would give him that money. And he called him on stage, come up. And he asked him, like, why would you pay me $750,000 for this phone? They're like, well, because I know that phone contains the information and the value will generate me millions of dollars. So it's worth $750,000. What did Russell Brunson do? Hook, story, offer. Every step in your funnel, every step in your sales process has a hook, a story, and an offer. In short, a hook is what grabs person's attention. Okay, because people are constantly focused on different things. They're constantly distracted. You basically are interrupting them on some level, and you are trying to say like, hey, look at me. So your hook has to be something that can get their attention. Your story builds up the value, right? Russell Brunson said, who will buy this phone for $100,000? That in itself is a hook, because that's a crazy price tag for many things, much less a phone that people can buy for $1,000. So immediately people are like, what? That doesn't make any sense. But it interrupted their pattern and made them think, well, what's going on? Why would it even be considered? Okay. Then he had told the story. Well, this is what's going on here, and this is what I have here, and this is what it can do for you here. He built the value of his offer, right? Build it up. Now it's not about the thing; it's about what it can do for you. And then he came with the offer. Hey, who'd give me this? Who'd give me this much? Who'd give me this much? Who'd give me this much, right? So this is in everything. When you place an ad, you have a hook to grab their attention. You have a story that's going to make them continue on in the offer. Usually in an ad is like click through or something like this, right? Which brings them to maybe your funnel page, your sales page on your funnel, which will have a hook right at the top, a headline. It could be a picture, it could be a photo, it could be a GIF, it could be any different number of things that grabs their attention, right? Their story is going to be building up the value. Now you're sharing not just the thing you have, because that's not what people buy. People don't buy things. They buy what? Do you remember? The result. They want a result. The reason people buy stuff is because they are looking for a particular result, and they believe your product will get them that result. So we don't sell the thing, we sell the result, right? People don't sell a diet, they sell the way you will feel when you don't have that weight on you, the energy that you will have, the confidence that you will have, right? They don't sell, hey, diet plan, right? And then we have the offer. And the offer, this is a magical component. I'm learning this about sales. It's not about saying like, hey, this is $20. It's not about that. So we have the offer. And what Russell Brunson does, which is phenomenal, and he works so well that when people change it and they don't get the result, they like blame him. It's ironic. But what he does is he creates something called an offer stack. An offer stack says you have your core offer, your core product or service, and then you have all these other things in there, right? And these things have a value attached to it. How much is this thing worth? How much is this thing worth? How much is this thing? And how much is this thing? Where you get to the bottom and you have the total value is something around 10x what the cost of what the actual price is, or the cost that what you're asking people to pay. Okay, so for something that costs, let's say $100, Russell Brunson says aim for making the value $1,000. All of this together is valued at $1,000. It doesn't have to cost $1,000. It is a value that you place on it. That's an important thing. It's a perceived value. Okay. So let me put it into some practical perspective, because this is an example he uses in the book, and it's very good because what he says, don't make your offer and what you're selling a commodity. A commodity means like basically you're trying to sell it for the lowest price, because there are 100 other people all selling the same thing. So it's like, who's going to be the lowest price, right? And to quote him, who's quoting Dan Kennedy, he says, there's no strategic advantage to being the second lowest price. So become the highest price. Give the most perceived value. And here's here was his example. And I love this example because it's so basic. He was talking about babysitting. Use the example of babysitting. Okay. So someone's trying to sell babysitting. What would they say like, okay, hey, babysitting is going to cost you $20. Okay, babysitting for $20. That's what, let's just say, every babysitter is doing. So how do you differentiate? What is the offer stack that makes people say, oh, that is such a better deal? Well, yeah, he asked this, it was a young girl who was babysitting. She said, what else do you do or can you do? And let's put a value to it. She's like, well, I can actually help clean the house. All right, so while I'm there or when the kids are asleep, I'll do some house cleaning, which we can value at $60. Oh, sweet, that's good. What else? We can ensure that, hey, all homework has to be done, right? And will get done. Well, that's very valuable too. I would put that at $60. I will make sure that there are no electronic devices used, that they will be engaged with each other or playing activities, doing something else, homework, but not using electronics, no electronics. If that's something they value, or if that's something that's important to the parents, then they value that. Really, you're gonna keep my kids off of electronics? That's awesome. Well, let's value that at $40. Also, I'm gonna have fun activities that I will bring. Maybe this particular girl maybe looked at a book, brought us some activities, has some ideas, maybe even brought some stuff. Like, I'll do that because I want to engage, keep your kids engaged and off the electronics and doing something that is productive. Well, let's value that. I'll also prepare and give them their treats, dinner, whatever it is, okay? And I'll value that at, I'm looking at my notes because I want to say what it is in the book, right? Homework, right? And you go through this, and also like whatever else you can do. So like, look at all this stuff, and when you add it up, and just for my purposes, I'm not gonna go through everything. He actually listed a few more things, but basically what we're saying is like, hey, this is a $200 value, right? And I'm charging only $20. Let's put the only in front of it. It's only $20, but it's a $200 value. Think about it, especially if you're a parent, okay? And you get 2, 3, 4, 5 kids who say, yes, I'll babysit. I'm $20 an hour, I'm $20 an hour, I'm $20 an hour. I'm like, oh, okay, well, let me show you what I do. I make sure I clean your house while I'm there. I'm gonna make sure the kids have their homework done. I'll make sure that they are not on electronics. I'll even bring fun activities in, and I'll prepare dinner, give them snacks, make sure they're in bed and asleep by the time you get home, right? And all of that, I mean, really, individually, I could charge you this much money. That's over $200 that I could charge you, but I'm only charging you $20. Yeah. You start seeing the value in it, and you start seeing like, wow, everyone else is charging $20 just for that, but you're gonna give me all of that for the same price? Oh, that's more valuable, I'll pay that. Let's say everyone else was charging $20, and she's charging $25. You think she'd get the job? So to quickly recap, you got hook, story, offer in every part of the sales process, from the ad, from any videos that might be out there, any social media posts, everything has a hook, story, offer. Even the 60-second reel or TikTok or whatever it is has a hook, something to grab them, has a little story in there, and an offer. And the offer might be just follow for more, like if you press the like button. It doesn't have to be buy, right? The offer is a call to action, a CTA. It's a call to action. So we are getting their attention, we're telling them something, and then we're making them do something, right? And as you lead people through this process, every step, maybe this is click on the link in my bio, and they click on that, and then they get into your funnel. Well, guess what they see in the very first thing in your funnel? A hook, which will lead them into a story. Maybe that's a text, maybe it's a video of you explaining the story, right? And then at the end of the story, because you built value and you brought them value, you built up value in what you're about to offer them, then you make the offer, right? And of course, Russell Brunson's offer stack, that he said once he learned this, he'd never made an offer without having an offer stack, figured out any and everything he could throw in there to increase the perceived value. And he said, when you increase the perceived value, it makes selling so much easier. Anyway, you guys, that is it. .com Secrets by Russell Brunson. Phenomenal book on marketing. If you have not read it, absolutely, you got to do it. You got to read this, and you got to make it part of your marketing library. This is one of a series of books, and absolutely 100% recommend it.